Yo, what's up guys? How you guys doing today? Today I'll be sharing my secret with you guys on how you can get Prodigy-like piano playing. What I want to share with you guys today is fingering. Fingering in piano. What is it exactly and why is it so important to make your playing sound really nice? Fingering is important from when you're a beginner all the way until you're advanced. It is a critical part of playing piano and it's often overlooked too, especially as a beginner. So you guys may have seen professional pianists on video or live where they can be really effortless and play so smoothly, jumping around the piano. I'd say a big portion of how they get that skill is through their choice of fingering. So the term fingering broadly covers the aspect of which fingers you choose to place and play each note in your piece. For example, let's talk about the note middle C. If you were to play that note with your right hand, you have 5 options of which finger to use to play that middle C. From your thumb all the way down to your pinky. That is what you call fingering. Your choices of fingering in piano. In this video, I'm going to be covering the fundamentals of fingering and how it can make piano playing so much easier for you and how it can make your progress in learning the piano much faster. Alright, let's get into the very basics first. In piano, each finger is referred to as numbers rather than names such as thumb or middle finger, ring finger. So starting from your thumb is called the first finger. Index, second, middle finger, third, ring, fourth, pinky, fifth finger. It's the exact same for your left hand, where your thumb is your finger 1, all the way down to your pinky as finger 5. As an example, if we were talking about the right hand and I told you to use finger 3 on middle C, you'll be using this finger, your middle finger, to play middle C. On a lot of official sheet music you see in books and sometimes online too, you'll have numbers sitting above the notes that you're playing. Those numbers tell you which fingers to use. Let's look at this example here from Bergmuller. In the first bar, you have the number 5 written above the note G. Normally, you'll be using your right hand to play this, so it refers to finger 5 of the right hand on G. Looking down a bit further, you got a big chord in your left hand. Here it says 5, 3, 1. The lowest number of the stack of 3 numbers tells you which finger to use on the lowest note. Same thing with a middle number, number 3, that refers to your middle note of the 3 notes. So that'll be finger 3 on E. And finally, finger 1, that will be used for G, the highest of those 3 notes. Usually these numbers are provided as a guide from the editor or the composer, telling you that they believe if you use these fingers, it'll be much easier for you to play their piece. Another note is that you'll normally see these numbers written in your sheet music only when there's a large transition period. Let's say you're climbing up a note and you run out of fingers. Then they'll write the fingers that they want you to use in that transition period. Other than that, there's usually not any other finger numbers written above your notes in your sheet music. So it's up to you what you want to use as fingers for those. Because hand shapes vary from person to person, the fingers you ultimately use is dependent on you. So I'm going to go through ways now where you can decide for yourself which fingers you like the most and common patterns you normally see, which tend to just work well in certain situations that you can apply. So my first piece of advice to help with your fingering is to be scarce with your fingers. Let's look at this example here where each finger is resting above each note starting from middle C. If my aim in this piece was to play the B below middle C, I would not cross my 4th finger over my 1st because that will let my 3rd, 2nd and 1st finger be inactive. This is quite a large move from your finger and it is inefficient if you're trying to play any faster piece. The best move here will be, because you only have 1 note below middle C, you'd use your 2nd finger to cross over finger 1 to play B. That is called being scarce with your fingers. Let's scale back to the very basics. If we were to play a piece in the 5 finger position with the right hand, so the notes you are only playing is C, D, E, F and G. The best finger positioning there is to start with your thumb on C, climbing up, ending with your pinky on G. In this piece, there will be no reason for your fingers to move away from the notes at all, because those are the only notes you'll be playing. Once you do start moving your fingers away, that adds an extra layer of complexity which you don't need for a piece where you only have 5 notes to play. So use all your 5 fingers to play those notes. So in being scarce with your use of fingers, ask yourself, do I really need to move my hand here? Is this the best use of my fingers when I cross over here? Would it benefit me if I left my fingers elsewhere so that I can reach the next few notes without having excessive movement? My next piece of advice would be to bias your stronger fingers. If I were to ask you right now to try and hit something as hard as you can with only one finger, those fingers would most likely be your second, third, maybe your thumb too. It would never be your 4th or 5th finger. Even if you let your hand flat and try to lift up just your 4th finger by itself, it is very difficult to lift up that 4th finger and feel not awkward. The 4th and 5th finger you generally want to avoid unless it is necessary to use those. Try doing some trills on your piano. A 2 to 3 trill and then a 4 to 5 trill. You'll notice how much stronger your 2 to 3 trill is compared to your 4 to 5 trill. So bias your fingers 1, 2 and 3. However, there's obviously exceptions to these rules, but just be smart, like the previous advice with the use of fingering. Just be aware that your 4th and 5th finger are weaker, and just try and think about that too, the strength of each fingers. Alright, moving on, let's look at common finger patterns that you'll see in music and when to apply them to. These are finger patterns that I recommend that you use and will be very beneficial for you later as you're progressing with your piano. So I'm going to go through common patterns you'll see in scales and runs. So the first one is going from finger 3 to finger 1. This one is one of the most common finger transitions as you're climbing up and down the piano, especially in scales and runs. Let's look at the octave. Octave means 8 notes. If we wanted to play the octave of a scale from C to C, C major, it's very good to transition at 3. Once you transition at 3 and bring your thumb over to F, you have 5 fingers left now. So 3 plus the 5, you got a clean 8, which means you have the perfect amount of fingers to play that octave. And again, being scarce with your finger usage. The next one will be transitioning from fingers 4 to finger 1. The reason why I use this one is pretty much in the same reason as you would for finger 3 to 1, but if you wanted some extra fingers to keep moving ahead from that. And then on the flip side, as you're coming down the piano, instead of being 3 to 1 transition or 4 to 1 transition, it'll be now 1 to 4, because now your fingers are crossing over your first finger. Let's talk about common fingering for arpeggios. So very similar to your runs, arpeggios use the same patterns, so you'll be finger 3 to 1 or finger 4 to 1. You'll rarely see a finger 5 to 1 transition in arpeggios because it makes it quite a bit more awkward to play through that and make it sound smooth, because you're allowing a gap in the arpeggio. So that's it for my advice on how to use fingering. Applying these will definitely help you progress in your piano journey. And just as usually, apply these tips slowly. Don't try and work too hard at it, because then it will just fry your brain out. Probably, unless you got a good brain. If you guys like this video, let me know. Or if you have any questions that you didn't quite understand from what I've said through this video, let me know too, and I'll try and answer them. And if you liked it, please like the video, subscribe, and see you guys next time. See you later. Bye.